for this story, we have a slightly different cast. So we have the DM, who is the ranger in the previous campaign. Though he's a decent player, he's an absolutely terrible DM on the same level as the other one. We have the artificer. It's the absolute nightmare of a player who is obsessed with being OP and having all the best magic items, and causing conflicts with others, who played the paladin and the barbarian in the previous campaign. And now he's playing a human artificer. Ranger, the annoying guy who switches out of characters every other session, who played a blood hunter and cleric in the previous campaign, and most recently he played, I think, a half-drow ranger, but I was losing track. Paladin, the person who played the gunslinger in the other campaign. Not the worst player, but no longer innocent either. Now playing a halfling paladin. Rogue, the younger sister of the paladin, a new player, playing a multi-class dragonborn rogue/paladin. And me, I'm playing a drow warlock. So I was invited to join an Out of the Abyss game in the same small Discord server as the other game I was in, after the events of Part 1, but before the events of Part 2 if I recall correctly. DM played the ranger in the other campaign and was one of the more mature and responsible players, so I thought it would be fine, despite the fact that some of the problem players from the previous games were in it too. He seemed more responsible than the DM of that game and would probably learn from the mistakes made, especially since he tended to side with me whenever nonsense happened. I figured that if the problem players tried anything, he'd be quick to shut it down. Oh, how wrong I was. So it started out fine enough, but it became clear that the DM wasn't always that prepared for encounters or decisions we make. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and it's entirely understandable, especially since I'm not sure what his experience level was. However, it did not take long before the problems started to show, which they did as soon as we got to the Dark Lake, if you're familiar with the module. DM did not have any idea how to move the story forward, and basically left everything too wide open for us. He repeatedly asked us which direction we wanted to go, but we had no map, so we were essentially just wandering around aimlessly. For instance, "So where do you guys want to go?" "I don't know, do we see signs of a town anywhere? Any places to rest?" "No you don't. Do you want to go north, south, east, or west?" Whatever way opposite from where we came from, seeing as we're being chased, right, I guess? I have no clue what direction that is since we have no map, but away from here. I think he didn't want to railroad us too much or something, but ended up leaving us with no clue what to do. There were a few random encounters that were extremely easy and boring because the DM had leveled us up way too fast, but had no idea how to alter difficulty levels. Scheduling was also very inconsistent. He'd randomly decide to run games on days we weren't originally scheduled to do so, sometimes only an hour or two before, so it was very common that the entire party would not be around. He also seemed to realize that we were not very excited by this game. His first solution was at first to, instead of giving us plot direction of any sort, to just start rolling on some sort of random table once a session. The first time he did this, one of the party members got randomly disintegrated. Thankfully, it was one of Ranger's previous characters, and since he changes characters constantly, he wasn't bothered by this. It was pretty commonplace for people to randomly decide to change their characters for no real reason besides being bored, and the DM allowed this. Even though Ranger was the worst offender, everyone else would do this as well, to the point where my warlock was the only original party member from the first session. Rogue never actually switched characters, but she joined at a later time, so I was the only escaped prisoner from the Drow prison. Because of this, there was no opportunity for party dynamics of any sort to form, and a lot of time was wasted introducing new PCs. At one point, Paladin starts playing a new character who he tells us is his character that he plays in a different campaign on another server, and asks if he can apply the experience from both campaigns to the same character, leveling up twice as fast, and the DM of that group okayed it. I tell the DM that there's no way he should let him, and he doesn't. Things took a turn for the worse though, when we arrived at this mysterious giant tavern that appeared out of nowhere in the middle of Dark Lake. I was relieved to finally have some sort of plot direction, however, that relief was very short-lived. DM pointed out a mysterious four-armed man in a hooded cloak sitting at a table, and told us that that guy was going to be important. First, though, we decided to ask the barkeep for some directions. This, though, was interrupted by a massive horde of gnolls coming to invade. I have no clue where they came from since we were in the middle of a lake, but whatever. We started fighting them, but it becomes clear that us, I think level 5 at the time, have no way to take them all out. Then the mysterious man stands up, casts a spell, and opens a portal, causing hundreds of magical weapons to rain down, insta-killing all the gnolls. Here we meet the dreaded DMPC. DM starts telling us about how he's a god and is level 60 or something along those lines. I'm not sure if any one of us were particularly interested, and I'm not a fan of impossible counters that get solved because of a deus ex machina. We leave soon after, and after way more tedious and easy random encounters and going in circles, arrive in the Kuatoa village, Sloopadop. When we get there, we go to the market and find a very familiar merchant. It's DMPC, telling us that he sells everything imaginable. Of course, I ask for a map of the Dark Lake region, which I buy for around 10 gold or something. Artificer then asks for a Spear of Annihilation. I immediately tell the DM no, we're level 6, and he has a history of abusing powers with magical items, and you're not going to sell him this. DM tells me not to worry, and he knows. He says it's for sale for 5,000 platinum. We're not close enough to be able to afford that, so all seems good. Rogue realizes that the weapon she's been fighting with, a whip, hasn't been the greatest for her build and asks for something stronger. Since she is new to the game, she knows very little about the types of weapons. She and the DMPC talk for at least an hour and a half about what all the weapons he's selling are, including some very powerful magic ones we can't afford, including these super OP homebrew ones, in what is the most drawn out, boring session of D&D I have ever played in. She's having major trouble deciding on it, and I think Paladin finally helps her pick out a +1 rapier or something, which I really wish he could have done outside of game time. Everything else in the village goes just fine, apart from Ranger's character deciding to fight a demogorgon when the rest of us escape and getting immediately killed. The encounters with the Kuatoa were fun, and I figured that the game was going to start to pick up speed. Now to fast forward a bit, we're in the Duragard city of Graxtalug now, and mostly doing random side things like riddle challenges with DMPC, who keeps appearing everywhere at random. In real life time, it's now the holiday season, and I have lots of prior engagements. Due to this, and the random impromptu scheduling of games, I have to unfortunately miss 3 consecutive sessions in a row. The group told me it was okay and not to worry about it, and when I finally showed back up, they were happy I was back. I asked for a recap of what I missed. Before I left, they decided to go on a little side quest to get some extra gold, and I was hoping that I didn't miss out on too much. DM then proceeds to tell me that during said side quest, they got a bit derailed and ended up chilling with the DMPC in a pocket dimension for a year. That's right, I missed an entire year of in-game time over 3 sessions. I'm pretty worried that there's no way I'm going to be able to catch up, and the DM reassures me that they actually didn't do much during that whole year. Now the group is heading back to Graxtalug, which the Demogorgon has rampaged through during the year that we were gone. The city is a complete mess, and there were thousands of Duragard waiting right outside the gates to just murder us, since they somehow know who exactly we are. At this point, we are level 8, and it's looking to be yet another unbeatable encounter that we need to be saved by the DMPC. Instead, Artificer casts the spell Wish, and literally Thanos snaps half the Duragard out of existence. I am in stunned silence for a moment, and ask the DM, "What? We can't use Wish at this level?" DM responds with, "It's okay. I gave him 1 and made him promise not to use it to get you guys out of the Underdark or kill Demogorgon." Besides, it doesn't matter anyway, because there are still thousands of Duergar, and now they're even more angry with you after seeing what the Artificer just did. Artificer then says he casts the spell Teleport on the entire party except himself, sending us back to the Ranger's hut, while he battles the Duergar to the death, repeatedly casting spells of Finger of Death and Disintegrate. He ends up dying, and I don't remember how. On the bright side, at least he didn't try to kill the party. Excuse me, what? I asked the DM, extremely irritated. Why in the world does he have this many uses of this spell at level 8? Or any uses at all? This is ridiculous. Why are you letting him do this?
Oh, I bought the eye and hand of Vecna,
Artificer tells me. Did I just hear that right? Not only was he a player with a history of demanding and then abusing extremely powerful magical items that hurt the party members allowed to have such powerful items, but that he was just able to buy them? These are items campaigns are literally written around. They aren't just some random treasure. DM explains to me that on the first session that I was not able to be there, he rolled on the random daily effects table, which ended up giving the Artificer a curse where he vomits up gold coins every day. Over the course of that whole year in the pocket dimension with the DMPC, he accumulated enough gold to buy any magic item in the game, since DMPC is a god and can sell anything to anyone. I tell the DM that I thought we were done with this thing where we just throw out unnecessary OP magic items to everyone. DM says that he made a mistake and that it wouldn't happen again, and that he's sorry, but I don't really care. It's clear by now that he can't learn from past mistakes, like witnessing all the insanity that went down in the other campaign. I'm awkwardly quiet for the rest of the session. The next things that happen are DMPC showing up with an alternate universe version of the Artificer, the same exact character, just with no memories of us and without the gold vomit curse, and the eye and hand of Vecna. The DM tells us essentially that the plot demands that we all go back to Gratztalug, and that the DMPC will teleport us there, and that we have to finish up there before we can get to the next area. If the DMPC is such a powerful god, I don't see why he can't just drop us all on the other side of the city. But whatever. Before we do that, the Paladin asks,
"Can I have a hammer of thunderbolts? It will be a halfling-sized hammer of thunderbolts, so it will do less damage. Plus, I'll permanently give up 2 of my second-level spell slots for it. Please?"
The DM agrees. So much for that apology. I don't even protest. I'm too exhausted from all the craziness and know by now that I'm just gonna quit the game. After the game is over, I tell the DM I'm quitting the campaign. He tells me that he figured I would be, and apologizes again. He finds a new player to replace me the day after. They have no idea what they've gotten themselves into, that's for sure. I silently leave the server a few days later. A possible happy ending for me though, as I was able to find a new campaign for my Necromancer to join. Hopefully, I'll be able to find a new group for my Warlock as well. Yeah, it seems to me like the DM wasn't really taking things seriously. It was like he was playing in creator mode on a Minecraft server. Obviously, it looks like he was just being a people pleaser, and actually, I think among friends, that's okay. But when you have others who expect a real game, don't waste their time. DM should have laid down expectations in the beginning to avoid this situation altogether. OP was just a tad bit too forgiving on the GM and should have left earlier, but I still understand. But what do you all think about this situation?